Hello, children! This is Andrew and John from
107offdutypodcast.com. I like it. You should keep it.
This is not sponsored or anything, but do you like awesome EMS shirts?
Funny stickers and morale patches.
Then you should go check out medicelement.com.
Turns out they're like really close to us.
Yeah, totally. And they're cool enough to give us a discount code. So if you want to buy one, get one on stickers, go use the code MEDIC18.
Yo.
Go
over to their website and demand that they come over here and talk to us on our podcast.
We're working on that.
I mean, I just want to bother them.
Hello, and welcome to 107 Off Duty Podcast. My name is Andrew Straley, EMTP, and with me is John Willison. Oh, God. And Clyde's not here because
He's
had
dead.
a scheduling conflict.
No, he's not dead.
He's in my backyard.
A scheduling conflict in your backyard.
No, Clyde was pretty cool. I thought
I think he worked out well.
Well, it took him a minute to get a little
God rest his
acclimated.
soul.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as it would anyone. To be fair, if you and I walk into like a party of people we don't know, it takes people longer than he took to get acclimated to us.
I don't know, man. Like I walk in going, "What's up, bitches?"
Exactly. And it takes people a minute to start talking to us.
No, but after he got started, it was awesome, man.
Yeah.
'Cause, like
Once he got comfortable,
he's got some good stories.
I think he was just afraid to
That
like
we were going to rape and murder him.
jump in. Yeah. Well, and plus we don't leave a lot of empty space for someone to interject.
Dude, even
I've
I'm
been told
like, even
many
like I'm like
times that I'm that guy.
wait.
Yeah.
Hey.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's I think he's gonna be cool. I think he's gonna have some good stories, man.
He has a lot to
Waffle
add.
stomp.
Yeah, waffle stomp, man. It's like our new fucking motto.
We might make a T-shirt saying waffle
I
stomp.
want a t-shirt. If we don't, I will.
Okay.
Just one, just for me.
Well, I found a couple of things recently on Twat that I think we should
Tweeter.
probably talk about. maybe.
Tweeters.
Yeah. Apparently in Los Angeles, there's this new thing that's going to be voted on. That's
Prop 11?
Prop 11.
I wonder what the rest of the props were.
I give everyone props.
Yeah,
I give all of Los Angeles
mad
props.
props.
Mad props, bro.
LA's got enough props.
Apparently, a couple of years ago, security guards lobbied and said that it went against labor board to not be able to turn off their radios during their breaks, even though they're paid for their breaks.
And to be totally clear, like, are they doing that now?
Yes.
And getting in trouble for it?
No. They're trying to... All right. The security guards lobbied, basically said it went against, and they had a court case in the Supreme Court in California, and they said that, yes, you're right. You should be able to turn off your radios during your breaks because, you're allowed to have, X amount of breaks for your shift.
There should be rules, though. What if there's not coverage? What if there's not enough guys? Like, if there's 5 guys out there and you only need 5 guys to get the job done, really, and you want to turn yours off, go ahead. But if there's, like, 2 of you, and your buddy might need some backup, you should probably leave the damn thing on just to not be an asshole.
Well,
right?
Let me be that dick that says security guards don't matter.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing, too. Is there, like, a union of all the security guards across the board, or is this just, like, one small group of security guards?
They're just saying that it goes against labor board stuff, which is
and
federal.
That'll affect other people that fall under that jurisdiction, too, then. So, like, then they'll be, like, police officers turning off their radios?
This is what actually happened was because security guards lobbied and said, hey, this goes against labor board, you have to let us turn off our radios for this.
Right.
Police, fire, and EMS in California said, dude, if they can do it, we can do it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because I really don't care if mall security turns off their freaking mic, but I kind of care a lot if the police turn off their radios,
Saul fart, mall fart, or whatever.
Yeah, Paul Blart, mall cop. Yeah, man, if freaking Paul Blart turns off his radio on his lunch, I could care less. But
Well,
if that starts spilling over into that, it's a little bit of an issue.
Long ago, children, before I started in EMS, I worked for a security company, and I did corporate security. Yeah.
Did you work mall security for a bit?
No, I worked at a.
That's how you got into it, though, right? Because you knew a guy that worked mall security or something.
No. This was actually like security in a corporate building
wow.
and construction plant. Huh. So, but they actually ran EMS too. So I started there when I was in EMT class. Long ago, children.
Yes.
Where
before we had invented fire.
Yeah. Back when I had to rub two sticks together to try to get my lunch warm. They wouldn't let you turn. I mean, you got a break, but they didn't let you turn it off. You still had to do your rounds. You still, whatever.
Well, sure.
So, but my thing is, I have never, ever worked at an EMS company or anything that would let you shut off your radio during your break.
And even crazy.
Even when it was, a union company, they didn't even pay us for our lunch break. You were quote unquote guaranteed X amount of time for your lunch,
right?
But it wasn't covered, so
and it wasn't necessarily guaranteed that it would be all at once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They were like, you get a half an hour for lunch, and we'll try to cover you. But if things get busy, then you have to run.
Yeah,
that's
which
just
you can't really complain about.
It's kind of the nature of the beast.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of where I stand. Like, this is a douchey thing to say, I feel like, a little bit, but it'd be like, honestly, it would be like if, okay. So this might be a little bit controversial, but like when police officers complain about their jobs being dangerous, I'm like, I'm sorry, but whoever said that being a police officer was a safe job?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it'd be like a fireman complaining that it's too hot.
Yeah,
like, I'm sorry, but that's your job, dude. If you don't like it, maybe do something else.
Well, and that's the thing. I've seen a lot of the cops that I know in this area that I've worked with before. They have actually left, and we talked about this before. They've left the sheriff's department or the police department in the big city that's near us. That they've went to go be pilots because they get on this program where they teach you to be pilots, and they pay you a lot of freaking money
right.
just to fly a plane,
which is pretty cool as it is.
And my thing is, if you're
and you can roll that into other things too eventually.
Yeah,
if you log enough hours, eventually you can get like a cushy ass like freight job or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Shoot, man.
And my thing is, even when I was running 24 calls in 24 hours, the first full-time medic position I had, I was running 24 calls in 24 hours. And that's actually what sent me to burnout the first time.
Yeah,
was just running my dick off all the time.
No downtime, always on go.
So, but that's the thing is, you don't know when you're going to be able to eat. And my job before this last one, you were required to sit in your ambulance for at least 10 hours of your shift.
Really?
Yeah. You were allowed to come back for...
Was that a pain? Or was that like
nice? It's horrible.
I bet it was like horrible. Painful, like physically, like I want to go.
I mean, because think about it, you're sitting upright unless you get in the back and get on the cot where all the sick and gross people are, and take a nap. So you're like sitting upright, trying to take a nap, and then you get a call, and then 3 o'clock in the...
that if it said like you're mandated that you have to spend this much time in the station or something on your nice comfy couch or whatever, but it's that's
and that's the thing is, you don't know, you're sitting upright, and then 10 o'clock at night you're going 150 miles to doing a transfer.
Right.
That's the thing is, sitting and staring, it makes you tired. Plus you have to do your charting and all that stuff. So
right,
that's the thing that sucks. But there's got to be some happy medium, and the happy medium is not turning off your radio during.
No,
because let's be honest. I mean, here's my outlook, and this might not be a popular outlook either. Okay, say you're a police officer, right, and say you turn off your radio in a restaurant for your break for a half an hour.
Sure.
And you have another officer that's chasing somebody a block away, and they get shot.
And you never even know.
You don't know, and you could have been the person that would make that difference.
Yeah, or just say the 2 buildings over is getting robbed. They call it in. You're the closest by like 17 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
You could be the difference between catching and not catching these people.
And you also have, let's say it's a fire station. They turn their radio off, and for a half an hour, say 3 blocks away, there's a fully involved structure fire, and
Right.
they have to send a station from 17 blocks away to come to the structure fire,
Right.
and you don't even know what's
little
happening.
Timmy on the 14th floor is fucked because you had to take your break harder.
Right.
Like, come on, man.
Well, and for medics too. Let's say there's a heart attack right next door to your station or 3 blocks away from your station. But let's even make it even worse than that. Let's say that there's another unit that gets sent to that call anyway because it's their call to take, but they don't have enough hands to handle the situation. Because I've gotten Mayday calls before where I've ran lights and sirens because PD, like, you're going to have to wait for
Right.
dispatch to let the PD know and whatever, but you can hear it right away. So
Right.
I just book it over there and say they have a combative patient or something like that they just need extra hands on trying to get this guy down or whatever.
Right.
You can do that.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I don't think it goes for having a meal time as much as it is help your coworkers.
Right. The bitch about this is, ironically, the main reason why they want to do this doesn't bother me. It's the implications, which is annoying because that's what this basically means is, if this thing is passed or is it about to be passed?
The Prop 11 says that they are not allowed to do that.
Okay.
That they have to be available so that way they can respond to emergency calls, and
Yeah.
they're citing.
And if it fails, they're just going to have to make another proposition that will exclude certain people but still let them have their ability to blah, blah, blah.
Right. They're citing response times, which is legitimate, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you don't have a good response time, you're not helping anybody. So
Right. Or at least not helping them as much as you could.
Right, exactly.
Which I feel like that is your main job description, is to help as much as you can.
And let's be honest, man. Like, even non EMS, non first responders,
Well, think about
if you
like
get
hospital
hired on-
security, though.
Well-
Hospital security, I could make an argument for, like, that could be that kind of important. Like,
Well-
say you're working hospital security and some crackhead comes in freaking for something and he pulls out a freaking scalpel and starts slicing up patients. Like,
But hospital
know.
security's not going to do anything either, because the
Oh.
only thing they have is pepper spray and
This is true.
maybe a set of handcuffs. That's why they actually hire on
always
off
wanted to
duty.
pepper spray someone. It just feels like it would be fun.
Oh god. Maybe if enough people get our Patreon and give us money, then maybe I'll let you pepper spray me.
Yay!
But only if I can pepper spray you right afterwards.
I mean, sure. So that basically just means, like, how much pepper spray can I put in your face to where I run out and you don't have any left for me?
Oh no, we'll have 2. You
You'll
can
have one in
unload
your
as
back
much
pocket,
as you
you
want,
don't tell
man.
me
I'll get
about
another
it.
one.
You're just like, well, you just screwed yourself because that was the rule. It's even amounts. Oh, damn it.
Yeah, dude. So I don't know, man. Like, I'm against it. I like the principle.
Yeah, and that's how I feel. Like, sure, man. Like, you should have your break. Like, as long as there's coverage, there should be stipulations. Like, for instance, at my job, if I'm on lunch, I'm on lunch. I don't do anything regarding work whatsoever. But if I'm on my 15, I'm still on the clock.
But do you
So,
get paid for that lunch?
I get paid for the 15, but not the lunch.
Exactly.
So
And
the
that's-
lunch is lunch. I'm gone. I might as well be home, right? But when I'm on my 15 breaks, my 2 15s, if somebody comes in with like 12 dogs and it's like, oh God, they will call my cell phone and be like, bro, like, you got to get back in here. Once these dogs are done, then you can go out and resume.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm on call technically,
And
that's fine.
That's exactly what they do.
That's just called not being a jerk.
With
you know?
most of the companies that I've worked for, that's exactly what they do. Is they say, okay, well, yes, according to Labor Board, which is federal, whatever, you have to have a half an hour break.
Yeah.
You have to have a lunch for every 8 hours that you work.
Yeah, but
So-
if you're being paid, you should always be on call.
But here's the thing that the Labor Board even follows. Even if you're paid, even if it's a paid lunch, you have to have X amount of lunch breaks.
Right.
Well, they count pretty much every, whenever you're off to that time too. So if you're not
Right.
running a call, technically you're on a break, even if you're doing other things too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But you get paid for it.
Yeah. One company that I worked for, they did not pay you for your quote unquote break
Downtime?
unless you got a call, and then you got paid for that time.
Wow. Well, see,
So-
I could see that. Like, say for instance, like you take your 30, right? But you're on call.
Right.
If they don't want to pay you for that 30, but they do pay you for how much time it takes you to do the thing they call you back in for, like that'd be fine.
Well, and this was it actually took the union that I was in to kind of get this enacted, was that if you got a call during your lunch break, they would try to cover your lunch break, but if you got a call,
And there was no other choice; you had to come in.
yeah, then they paid you for that time,
Yeah, that's fair.
which that is
That's
completely
super fair.
Yeah, but the problem
It's probably a bit of a pain to figure out how much to pay you sometimes because you're not exactly clocking in. And then
technically
clocking right
that
back out.
was considered, no, they had to pay you for the entire break.
Oh,
So it made it easier,
That
but
makes
they
it a
had to
lot
pay you
easier.
time and a half too.
because you're technically working overtime, kind of.
That's what yeah, exactly. But
Right
the
on.
problem is the company that I was working for at the time, they made it, they took advantage of it because they wouldn't put coverage there. They would just kind of factor in the fact that you were going to get a call.
Oh,
Because, all right, so
they were basically trying to over prepare for it.
this is what they would do, was they would say, yes, you get a covered break, but if you got a call during like
And
right
you probably almost always did.
right before that time, what they would not give you coverage because it would encroach on the other crew's lunch break. So
Yeah.
they were just like, nah, we'll just pay you, screw it.
Which I mean, paycheck wise is probably all right, but
Well, when you're doing 24 calls, man, you're like, just give me an hour, please.
right?
Oh God.
Are there any jobs in the EMS world that work like, I don't want to say commission technically speaking, but like base pay with a commission?
No.
Like if you work your ass off, you get paid more, and if you have a slow day, you get paid the regular amount.
There are a few companies that give you incentives. So say you do X
Like
amount
if you're
of,
getting just annihilated, they give you a bonus or something.
if you do X amount of transfers, then you get a bonus.
So it's like an
somehow.
incentive or a bonus or something
Right,
like that. Well, that would be good though, because that'd be something to keep you going whenever you're like, oh my god, like what is going on? Is it the full moon? Like why is like? And you're just thinking to yourself like, yeah, but I am gonna get that nice big fat paycheck. Like
Right.
this is making it. This is gonna pay for my boat. Like
You know you know what BOAT stands for, by the way?
Mm-mm. Is this along the same lines as my dad's joke about buffets?
I don't know. No, a boat in the dictionary is a hole in water you throw money into.
Yeah, probably so. my dad's favorite joke is, you know what buffet stands for, don't you? I was like, no. What's buffet stand for? Big ugly fat fuckers eating together.
That's probably true.
It's super true. He always says it in a buffet surrounded by big ugly fat fuckers. It's great.
You know, the sneeze guard is only as good as the tallest person that goes to the buffet.
Yes, yes. And whether or not someone's willing to reach under it and go, like,
I just want this steak with it.
are you guys out of fish sticks?
A little extra taste on that.
Oh God! Oh God!
You know what? Here's the gross thing. So people are
Here's the gross thing.
people are wild, or they're going to be a guest hopefully soon, and there's going to be a promo on this episode because they gave us the promo too.
Episode.
Yeah. Apparently last week where our promo was debuted. She was talking about E. coli, which I'm like, yeah, that's
fitting.
Pretty much every buffet.
So it's super fitting. And the thing is, I love buffets. I love feeling like I have all the options available to myself. Like, you ever go to Orion's? Like, for our non-Southern Illinois listeners, Orion's buffet is like I'm sure there are others like it wherever you are, but it's like it's like the size of a Walmart, but every aisle is a food. Like,
Yeah.
like it's huge. They have like 12, 13 buffet table things to set up, and you just like, you go in there and it's just like there's an orgy of options.
Just a gangbang
Yeah.
of foods.
Yeah, basically. And you're like, I'm gonna get everything. A little bit of everything. Like, and then you
Here's
never
the-
eat it all.
Here's the gross thing, though.
It's the most
is
American thing in the world, I'm pretty sure.
Whenever you see that one person with a walker going up and her OPD is falling off, do you know what OPD is? Old people dust?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like the skin flakes and all that stuff. You're
It's
like,
funny because I was about to jokingly say old people something, but I wasn't sure. I thought you were...
you walk up and you see that like bat wing of an arm like flapping out there, and then you can
Dry
see like
skin just
like
flaking.
flakes just like,
Christ.
and you're looking at it going, they haven't changed that since she went up there. I'm not gonna eat that. She hit everything.
You're like, where hasn't she been yet? I'm gonna go there. That's I do. Like, you just follow the people that work there and just grab the things that they first put out. Like, yes, I want that now.
Oh god. And you know, buffets in this area have kind of gone extinct recently too.
It's true. There's a Chinese buffet. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good though. I love
It
that
is
place.
until like 3 hours later, whenever you're on the
Yeah.
toilet screaming in pain.
Yeah, well, you know, it's the price you pay, man. Got to get that sweet MSG in my system.
Oh god. You know what the gross part is the fact that I'm doing that cleanse now, and every day for me now is like eating at that buffet.
Yeah, it's like Taco Bell for breakfast,
Oh.
Chinese buffet for lunch.
Have you ever eaten something like
I didn't know that Akai did that to you, because Akai's in a lot of stuff.
it's a concentrated dose of it plus some extra stuff that's
So
basically
it's like
mint,
if you ate a bunch of concentrated berries,
pretty much.
you'd
Yeah.
get mad diarrhea.
It's not even diarrhea though. It's just like you can feel the sides of your colon just excreting everything that it's supposed to excrete,
Damn.
and just
So it's like a snowplow driving through your digestive tract.
yes, exactly. It is. It's horrible. The Acai Berry Cleanse, everyone. If you want to drop about 3 pounds in a day and a half, go
You know
ahead
they
and take
say
that.
you lose like 5 to 6 pounds. I could be totally wrong. They always say you lose like a considerable amount of weight when you get a colonoscopy. Is that no? What's
Colonic?
it called? Yeah, colonic.
Okay.
Colonoscopy is just looking up there.
It's a camera.
colonic is just when they flush.
Yeah. Mhm.
Which I don't know. Sounds kind of weird, but I'd be into it.
Oh Lord. Get that.
What's the difference between an enema and a colonic?
I have no idea, man.
I feel like an enema
I
is
think-
just like right there at the tip
I
of the
think
iceberg.
an enema is what you do yourself and cleans out, basically the entrance and about 7 inches above. I think a colonic is something that they,
It's like a deep cleanse.
they manually insert something and actively pull it out.
And I think they leave it flushing for a while.
yeah.
God, could you imagine how awkward that would be? Like, you're just sitting
Oh,
at the
man.
doctor's office and you're like, there's water flowing into my butthole.
I can feel
The
it.
feeling of you have to poop has got to be amazing. Like,
Well, I mean, you saw that Jackass clip
Yes.
whenever they did the colonic, right?
oh yeah,
They
dude.
pulled the tube out, and it was just like immediately, yeah, like a rush of Mount
like
Vesuvius
someone
coming out
broke
of
the
your
dam,
butt.
basically.
Oh, I think we just lost listeners.
That would probably feel great though.
Yeah, God, I don't know, man.
After the shame passes, it'd feel great.
Embarrassed as fuck and water rushing
Hey, you
out
just
of
get
your
a new
butthole.
doctor after that, though. You don't ever want to see that one again.
Yeah, you just look at that doctor and go, "I'm so sorry."
I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry that this is probably like the 4th time this has happened to you this week.
Sometimes I get depressed on what I do for a living, but you can think about that doctor and go,
Well, it occurred to me the other day that there is a person who works at every hospital whose job it is to just take samples and investigate like fecal samples
What if
all day.
"What if that was your kink, though? What if you were just into poop?"
God, then like you're really lucky.
Yeah.
good job placement.
All right, so everyone out there, if you're not living your best life, find out what your kink is and get a job that includes that.
Hell yeah. I know a guy who works in one of those. He was telling me about this like toe that they got at one point, and they were trying to figure because it was like a toe that had fallen off of a man. The man was still alive, but the toe fell off because he had like
Diabetes, probably.
neuropathy and stuff, and it just died and fell off his foot. And they were like
That's a
running all these tests on it and
It's a
stuff.
horrible thing to think about.
Yeah,
too.
and that was his day. That was his like. I was like, "How was your day?" And he was like, "Oh, well, we got this big black, disgusting, rotten toe in, and we had to prod it and do tests on it all day." And I was just like, "Oh God, you don't get. I don't know how much you get paid, but it's not enough. Like it's not enough. Like how do you eat lunch after that?
Probably the same way I do, man. Like I can run. I think I've said this before, dude. I've ran full arrest before where they like puke up chili, and I'm just
yeah.
like, yeah, chili sounds good.
Spaghetti sounds all right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Gonna go for the ravioli, maybe.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, he's got to be just numb to it, man.
Dude, if you don't have a stomach for doing medical shit, you are not gonna make it, man. That's all I'm saying.
I bet you find out quick too.
I've had students go, I'm out.
Yep.
Can't do it. Nope.
Looks like I'm gonna go
I'm gonna Uber back to the station and get my car.
Uber. Oh my God!
I want to do Uber so bad, dude.
Like drive for it?
Yeah.
Caitlin almost did it. There was a point where she was between jobs and she was thinking about Ubering. Although you don't make a ton of money unless you like have, like if you take the jobs where they're like, you can get Ubers that want you to take them to like St. Louis and stuff.
Oh, I'm cool
And
with
you
that.
make
dude.
some money on those. But
Look,
if you're
my-
just driving around town like a lot of people do, picking up people from the bar,
Donk.
you don't make a ton.
Well,
Like-
my whole thing was I wanted to do Uber, but I wanted to do it in the Mustangs and then just like freak people out all
Or
the
just
time.
go by your dad's house and pick up that old cruiser that's still got the fucking
the cage, yeah, dude.
I would be very comfortable doing it then. I'd pick everybody up from the bar.
That's the thing is, you pick people up from the bar, somebody's puking in your back.
Yeah, and luckily that car, you could just hose it down.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to buy. I actually thought about buying an old like Crown Vic with the cage just to do Uber in.
It'd be
and
worth
like
it, man.
painting it up, like, and actually do like the whole police decals and stuff, but have it say Uber on the side.
Oh yeah.
So that way it would just freak people out whenever it came up.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Like you got blues going only or something.
I have a siren too. Just saying.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You're so proud when you got it. I remember.
Well, whenever you used to work, whenever I used to work for a car dealership that would do like police buybacks,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then sell them like wholesale, and you were the guy that was allowed to take anything out as long as it looked stock afterwards. You get some stuff, man.
Hell yeah.
Hell yes. That was a fun job, man. I kind of wish I did that again. I
What's
actually
that called? That chip that like unlimits them or something like that police have?
it's just a different computer.
It just
So-
allows their car to go just a tad faster.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's why I like my Mustang, man. It was an ex-cop car.
Yeah, boy.
We actually
It's
got
their
a
chase car. That's cool.
yeah, exactly. They of course it's a Fox body Mustang, so you couldn't really transport anybody.
No.
It's pretty
It was just for keeping an eye on the guy while other people ram them off the road.
well, no, that was to like chase them, that like the super speeders. That's how you
Yeah.
chased them down, and then at some point you're just
Well,
like,
the cops back home got Camaros at one point.
you can't transport anybody in a Camaro
No.
either.
No, but you can keep up with somebody in one.
Yeah, you best believe, man.
I mean,
Best believe.
they probably didn't have a police helicopter, but they had that instead.
You know what's really funny is the cop in my town. I know
The
him pretty-
cop.
Yeah, the
The one.
deputy. Well, it's a small town, so
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's a Barney Fife situation.
Right.
He's got one bullet.
the deputy in my town, I know him fairly well, from working on the fire department and whatnot. And I actually pulled up next to his cruiser because he's got one of the new Explorers and whatnot.
Ooh.
I pulled up next to him in the Fox body, and like I just rolled down my window and I said, "Hey, you want a raise, bro?" And he's like, "Nope, you've got me. No chance, no chance
You're
at
like,
all."
good to know.
But here's the thing: is you can't outrun Motorola.
It's true.
The radios will outrun you every time.
Actually, the cops back home, they had these cruisers, but they didn't really get much use out of them. Though they did get use out of, they actually got these big ass like Dodge Ram trucks
Mm-hmm.
with like monster tires on them because people got to where like you'd see the lights behind you and you would just drive through a field in your giant truck. And what cop car is going to make it through that? You know?
Crown Vics used to.
yeah, I bet they probably did. But
They
hell,
had
you
a lot of
you just go
travel.
through enough ditches, eventually they're going to get tie-centered.
Right.
But like now they got these big old trucks. They're just like, all right, let's do it. Like,
Bitch, what?
oh no, because yeah, I knew a guy. He hadn't had his license since he was in high school. He lost his license almost immediately upon getting it,
Oh, okay.
and then drove for 30, 40 years without his license, no insurance. But he drove this like really beast mode Camaro, man, like the 70s Camaro, and they just couldn't catch him. Like every time he would see a policeman, he would just run. Like every time he did it
God.
for years. But he just knew all the little back roads and all the little farm trails that he could take,
Right.
and never caught him.
No shit. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, man, the dude was like it got to a point where like the police were like, well, he's not hurting anybody. let's just leave him alone.
He's probably hurting more people if we chase him.
Yeah,
Just
probably. It's more dangerous.
Let it
than-
go.
Yeah,
It's all right. Just chill out.
it's pretty great. That's small town police work for you, man. They're just like, whatever. Oh, it's just Reggie. Like, you know?
I'll tell you what, man. Like, I can't wait till I get my car back from the paint shop, just because I want to do like a cruise and
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
enjoy it for a little bit. Because it's fall now.
Yeah.
like it's getting
prime
cooler
weather,
out.
man.
Yeah, it's great, man.
It's not.
I wanna-
It's no longer motorcycle weather for long.
technically, this is better for like Harleys because 100-degree weather, they're air cooled, so they get
Oh,
really
yeah.
hot.
I bet they would.
Really, really hot, man. So like my Ultra, it's just like crying every time. Every time.
So
I
really,
go
you
out
got
now.
like a nice window between when it's too cold and when it's too hot.
It's kind of why I thought about moving somewhere where I can, enjoy it more of the time. I don't know. And that's
Yeah.
that's the thing. This is what's really shitty about like right now. I feel like I ghost at work.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, so I know that they're closing October 1st,
Oh yeah.
and I'm just kind of going in for the last.
You're
couple
just
of
going through the
shifts.
motions.
Yeah, I'm
You're phoning it in, kind of.
basically I'm going in. I'm like, but why should I do this transfer?
Right. So you're doing like exactly what you need to do, and you're not really like giving it your extra 100%.
It's basically if I have a patient that's a 911 patient, I'm like, yes, I'm going to help you because that's my job.
Right,
But
right.
then the extra stuff is just
Anything
like,
extra, you're like, why?
but why?
Yeah.
But really, I mean,
Have you guys had a lot of people like jump ship?
no, actually, that's the whole thing. That
They
the
should
people
give
that
you
I,
a bonus for staying on.
The
'Cause
people that
there's
I
no
work
real
with-
reason why you should stay on.
well, yeah, and my buddy, he actually said that. He's like, how do you know that they're going to pay you? And I'm like, man, I don't know that, but that's why I'm here.
Right.
I'm here to help, so that's exactly what I'm going to do.
I don't feel like they would do that on purpose.
No. I don't think they would. And it was like kind of last minute decision to stop
Well, not
running
to mention,
anyway. So
depending on, I don't know how well this matters for your field really, but like if you stayed on and like sunk with that sinking ship, like when they tell that to the next people that hire you, that's going to look pretty good.
yeah,
You know, like, oh, this guy, man, he stayed on. Like everybody else left, but he stayed on. Like that's
Well,
going to
and-
sound pretty damn nice on an interview.
And that's the thing too, is, like the operations man, the guy that's actually leaving, the son of the people that own the company, he was forthright and was like, "Look, yeah, this is why I'm leaving, and if you need me for a reference, I've got you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Just put me down."
Hell yeah.
Cool.
It's like, yeah, dude, he like saved kittens every day. Like,
Right. He put out a fire with his penis.
he did.
I've seen it,
And
which is
an actual,
weird.
an actual fire hose. I mean, it was a small fire, but still.
It was like a trash fire.
Have you ever actually put out an actual dumpster fire?
Yeah. No, I put out trash can fires, which is more than weird.
It is weird.
Especially since the trash cans are plastic.
Have you ever
So-
put out a grease fire?
Yes.
Like at a restaurant?
No.
where you can't, where water makes it worse.
Federal regulations.
Is grease fires the one that water makes it worse?
Yes. Anything that's grease related, if it catches on fire, don't put that on.
So what do you guys do
Smother.
in that situation?
Baking soda.
You just fire baking soda at it?
No, you find out where the baking soda is and you put it on top of it.
Oh, like, what if one got like? What if like an entire grease trap was on fire? Like a fuck ton of grease was on fire. What if a truck transporting grease caught fire? What would you do?
Peace be with you.
Yeah, just get everybody out and let it
Yeah,
burn.
Just be like, that part of the road's closed for
Let it
like
burn.
a day. So, y'all want some marshmallows? We got some marshmallows.
I guess like, what is that gas? Like Halon gas?
Yeah, Halon. And every restaurant now federally is required to
They
have
got
Halon
those.
gas. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
In the hood, right?
Yeah. So
That's
if the grease
right.
trap goes off, then it fires automatically.
I wonder.
Or it
I
has
wonder
a
if
trigger.
like dumb people almost. I feel like this would almost always happen. Like some idiot grabs a bucket of water and is like, "I got this." Whoosh. You know.
God, Gomer, go home. You're
Yeah.
fired.
You're not helping. Stop helping. Because it isn't.
Well, see, my whole thing is like now.
Gomer.
my thing is, I was happy where I was at, so now I'm like putting in applications and whatnot.
It's a bit of a
again.
bummer because you kind
Yeah.
of you found a place where you're comfortable and now suddenly you lost it.
Well, it wasn't
Like,
just
damn it.
comfortable. It was like, this is my paid vacation for,
Yeah.
a little while.
It was your like comeuppance for dealing with all the bullshit for a while.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely,
so
dude.
it was one of those like,
Well, it got cut short.
but yeah, I'm putting in applications and whatnot. But the thing is, like, you go on these websites that and you just put in paramedic.
Right.
So you're trying to find a job for a paramedic.
Now, is the job market like pretty saturated? Like, is it just like not a lot of jobs?
Oh no, there's plenty of jobs for medics. I mean, but it's like we talked about unfortunately, like 3 months ago when I was looking for a job again. You got to find that company that's like, well, we expect you to move bodies in the mortuary while you're off duty, or
You got to help us embalm.
you're doing we did
Dude,
for-
actually, that would probably be fun. Like, that'd be a
for
whole
you,
new
not
world.
me. No,
A
no.
whole new world, man.
I actually there's
Tell me
there's
you
like
wouldn't
this,
like it once. Not to want it to be like your main job, but like if somebody was like, "Hey, we're not going to make you do this very often, but like, do you want to come help us like embalm this guy?" That'd be fun.
No. See, I actually had this conversation talking about that whole moving dead body thing. There's like this like intersecting circle where it's like dead, new dead, and old dead make me more creeped out. Like I
Gotcha.
don't mind dealing with like the newly dead. Say I'm dealing with an
But, like,
arrest or whatnot, and I
sure.
just call it on scene. I'm cool with that.
Because
Or
he's still warm.
if I have to move them to like the county morgue or whatever,
Sure.
like
It's
I'm
fresh
a
still.
little more uncomfortable with that just because
But
they've
like
been dead longer.
every hour, it gets more and more
yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah, exactly. It's horrible, man.
So, have you ever been the guy that shows up, like when Carl down the street who doesn't have any family gets found 6 months later, kind of stuff?
oh, dude, too many times. Actually,
I mean, what do you do there? I mean,
the
your
last-
job is obviously well past done.
the last one I was on, well, hopefully, depending on where you're at, all you do is go in and just
Smell it and
make
go,
sure.
"Oh."
You just go, nope, they're dead. I can't do anything. Wait for the cops.
Call the coroner.
And the cops come, and the coroner comes, and the cops have to do the whole, like, well, is it malicious? Is it?
Yeah, they have, and that's
weird,
probably hard
strange?
for them too, because like all that evidence has got to be old and.
Oh, dude, the last one I had looked like a chocolate version of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and he was white to begin with.
Like under a fondue.
No, his face was just like,
Oh wow! Yeah. How are you supposed to find evidence on that?
well,
You know?
And the thing was, is my partner stayed in the hallway. I went in the apartment.
Why?
Like it smelled horrible.
Oh.
It was one of those situations.
I thought
where,
you meant like as opposed to leaving. I was like, why would he stick around for that?
No, like we got the call for a possible full arrest, maybe DOA, and
God.
I got on the elevator and we had everything on the cot, like monitor, drug box, everything. Like everything was there. And we got on the elevator and it's going up to that floor. We hit that floor, the doors open, and I'm just like, oh, that's a GI bleed, and like walk through the corridor and get like closer, and I'm like, that's a dead GI bleed.
Yeah.
Open the door, and sure enough, they
What's
had that
GI bleed?
like gastrointestinal bleed. So they're
his
bleeding from
stomach
the
had
inside out.
popped or whatever.
No, just like they bleed, like they're bleeding
And you
in their
can
GI
smell it?
tract. Oh yeah, it has a very, very distinct
Weird.
smell. Once you've had it like 1 or 2 times, you're like,
I
yeah,
know that smell.
I know that.
It stays in the memory.
Yeah. And it gets worse the longer it happens.
How do those what turns must your life take to where you become a core ender? You know?
Well, we went back to kinks, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
maybe? I don't know.
You just like really like that part in Wizard of Oz where the guy comes in, he's like, as core of Munchkinland,
Oh, God.
thoroughly examined her.
Yeah, man.
That's my favorite part. I want to be that. He grows his mustache out and he gets his job.
Yeah, but it was one of those things where, like, open the door and sure enough, I'm like, he's got dried blood out of his mouth and it went through his jeans.
Yay.
Yeah.
Actually, you know how last episode we were talking about, I think we were talking about it. We were talking about
Waffle
the After
stopping?
Prison show.
Yeah.
So in that same vein of like strangely specific YouTube channels, I've been obsessed with the YouTube channel Ask a Mortician.
I
So
have
it's like
no
this
idea what that is.
super crazy lady. She's like super cool, but she's basically a mortician and like a lifetime by choice mortician. And so like YouTube asks like people in the comment section ask her weird questions about like death and what they do and shit like that. Her fucking channel is crazy interesting.
No shit.
Like, yeah. And she's fucking awesome. Like, yeah, you should check it out. It's a rabbit hole for sure.
I'm not sure I want to. Like,
Well, it's not like graphic. The things she talks about can be pretty fucked up, but like, she's hilarious, actually.
man, I tell you what.
You
if I-
gotta be funny, though.
if I
Because, like,
wasn't-
how else could you deal with that?
If
job?
I wasn't bound by HIPAA, I would have so many more stories, man. Like that's the
Right.
thing is like I can only tell a few few vague things.
You have to keep it vague.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can say what happened, but you can't say why, how, or to whom.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's a horrible little
Kind of
like,
makes for a
line
crap
that I have
story,
to-
doesn't it?
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you off the air,
Right.
But I'm not gonna. Like, I can't put it out there publicly. That's
Right.
the shitty thing, you know.
It's the shitty thing.
So GI bleed is a shitty thing too.
That's nice. That's just nice.
I wish I could do a scratch and sniff, like just
Oh,
for
God.
GI bleed, or like a lot of the things that I smell on a daily basis, and just give them
Ooh.
to you and let you
Like, so I could be a part of it. Like,
yeah, just like oh my,
now I
oh
know
my
that smell.
god, no,
Noted.
no, thank you.
So I can know that if I ever smell that, to just go the other direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Just
you don't want to be in this block.
Call Andrew. No,
Go home. Go to bed. Your day is over.
jerk off in the shower, whatever. I don't know.
You just, bathe in your tears.
Well, we actually did get a couple of questions.
What's
we
the
actually
name? I'm trying to read the
We
name.
got 3 questions from Jess Thames.
Okay, yeah. Third question. I don't watch that show, but you do.
That's the second question.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The first question is just really long. Okay. I mentioned it
I think
before.
we can only do the last one right now.
Yeah, let's do the last one.
I don't know. We got a little bit of time. So, what was my first call? God, I don't know. It's been too long.
Right?
I
I'll bet you
mean,
remember your first code, though.
I can actually. I can vividly remember the first call as a fresh EMT on the fire department.
Right.
I can't remember the first call I ran as an EMT or on the ambulance.
I guess that would still be like your first call, because your first call as an EMT, you weren't green, but that call you were green,
Well,
right?
my whole thing is, everyone who is in EMS has this flip book of calls that you recall constant. Like,
So what's the earliest
pull
one
back.
of those?
the first one that I can remember is
I guess it's probably the most traumatic one that you dealt with first, or what?
that. Yeah, it was actually the first traumatic
First one that
injury.
like fucked you up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first fresh scar.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was 3
It's been
o'clock.
covered up by 28 and more scars
Right,
by then.
yeah.
But
It was 3 o'clock in the morning. Actually, 4 o'clock in the morning. And
do
it
you remember
was,
like how long you've been doing it by this time?
I want to say I'd been on the fire department for a year, but wasn't involved in the EMS side until...
So you were still fairly green,
Yeah,
for sure.
sure.
You were turning brown
Right. Yeah. It was slowly moving over into spoiled.
on the mossy oak scale.
It was 4 o'clock in the morning, and we got called out for trying to locate an individual who had been missing for...
Oh.
Her parents wanted her home by 10.
Oh,
And
no.
she was gone
Oh,
till
no.
3 o'clock in the morning.
I think I remember this.
Yeah. I think
I think you like
you were living in Decatur at the time, and I came over that night, and I was like, or the
you
night
were a
after.
fucking mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, it was. So what had happened is she was driving home, fell asleep, hit a culvert, and launched her car over 7 rows of corn. Like, she was 150 foot back. Like,
Wow.
somehow she just fell asleep and like hit the gas and hit a culvert and
Woke up.
ramped over like the first few rows of corn and was 150 foot back in this corn
And
field.
no signs of her going into the corn because she was in the air.
Well, even worse than that was she broke off a telephone pole 7 foot up. Like, when she ramped, she hit the telephone pole.
She must have fell asleep with her foot on the gas.
Exactly.
And then like really hit that thing.
The worst thing is the power company was out there and replaced the pole before,
and never even found her.
didn't see a thing.
They just thought somebody hit it and drove off.
Yeah.
Wow.
So basically, like,
That's nuts, dude.
yeah, it was
I
like
bet they felt crappy. Like, damn, I wish we would have looked around a little bit.
5 hours later, we're out there, we find the car, and it was one of those.
How did you
where
guys find it?
It was just one of those.
You just kind of put 2 and 2 together?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think one of the taillights was still.
Did it take you a while to find her?
Oh, yeah.
Did you like search party it and like stuff like that?
mhm. And it was one of those where you
Oh,
you
man.
found the car, and then at some point you're just like, oh, but, I mean, it.
Is that like the movies? Like, do people search party like that?
Man, no, not really. I mean, you're
Like the
you're kind of-
community doesn't come together and
the
blah,
police
blah, blah.
department and us and the ambulance service and
They
everything.
do kind of all hands on deck
just
though.
just
kind of
like
that,
driving
right?
around trying to see if they could see anything, like trying
Huh.
to find, because it was less than a mile from our house.
Oh,
That's
that
the shitty
sucks.
part.
That's,
And
they say that's pretty common though.
yeah,
Like
but
most car accidents are like right.
it
by
was
your
one
house.
of those situations where like literally you're scooping pieces.
Oh, so she was like done.
Oh, yeah, no
It
question,
probably would have been worse if she wasn't.
right?
Yeah, well, you know.
Well, 5 hours later she'd have been done anyway. So
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if you'd have had to like see her die, that'd have been worse.
Well, and I found out afterwards, just because the tow company and the police department did pictures of the vehicle.
Uh-huh.
It was like a small Toyota car. I could not tell what it was. And
Wow.
I'm a car person.
Yeah, yeah.
And like
It was fucking annihilated.
it was literally about a 3x3 cube.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it was
She must have
nuts.
been flying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's not even like a hard surface that she landed on. Like, here's what's really spooky about that story for me. So, when I was in high school, I was probably like 17, maybe 18. I was driving home in the wintertime, right? And
Right.
oh no, it wasn't even the wintertime. That's right, because the corn was up. Same deal. I was on an old country road. They always have the gravel in the center, in between the two quote unquote lanes, even though
Right,
it's like
yeah,
basically
yeah.
a one laner. There's a center gravel, and then they have gravel on each side of the road, and it's paved, sort of, right? And so I hit that gravel, going pretty damn fast in my at the time girlfriend's car.
Oh God.
Yeah. And I hit that gravel on the right side, and it sucks my rear back tire into the ditch, which fires me to the left. I corrected that, overcorrected it, hit the gravel again, skidded my back end out, and then hit the same ditch.
Oh God.
But head on with my front right tire, and the car actually did 2 rotations in the air, like about the same distance, like 7 or 8 rows of corn back, landed flat on the tires. Car was dead, but not a scratch on me. All that happened to me was like I had these Doc Marten boots, and one of those boots came up and whacked me upside the head, and that hurt. Don't get me wrong, but like
I think your boots just called you a bitch.
yeah, they were like, dude,
Why?
and it was crazy. Like all the stuff that was in the car was outside of the car and like on top of the car. Like it had rolled, flew out, and then like landed. Like it was crazy, but like not a scratch on me, man. Like I had a bump on the back of my head. That was it.
Dude.
No seatbelt, nothing. I was hauling ass.
Wow.
Like I was lucky. I've been lucky a lot.
Yes, you have. Let's be honest, man. I've been lucky a lot too. I have like riding the bikes and stuff like that. Like I have.
Have you ever been in like a real bad bike accident, like motorcycle accident?
I've never. Knock on wood.
Because those can be bad.
Never been in a bike wreck, but I have.
Have you laid it over?
I've kicked way too many bumpers and doors of cars. But here's the thing:
so you've had a lot of close shaves. Basically,
I have never, ever worn a helmet until last year. I'm like, I've made it 30 years.
Yeah,
maybe
you're pushing your luck at this point.
So yeah. She also asked.
You don't wear like the leathers and stuff.
I have them, but I don't wear them.
You just wear
in the
your
summertime,
regular clothes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And
which those things can save your fucking life too.
Here's the
I got a buddy that's got a skin graft. It's not pretty,
dude. Shitty story, kind of, is I ran a motorcycle wreck not too long ago, and this chick had bought her first motorcycle.
Oh no!
At like 40, she was like 40 something. Bought her first motorcycle. She had been riding with people, like on the back, but had never rode her own.
And always probably wanted to.
Bought her first motorcycle, and she was. It was
so sad.
She
already,
bought it,
and I don't even know the story.
She bought it 2 days before this.
Oh.
2 days before, it was the weekend. She hadn't got insurance and didn't have her learner's permit yet. She was going to get it that day.
And you can drive your bike to go get it.
Yeah.
Right? Yep.
And she
literally going to get her
went
learner's
to go
permit.
take a corner with a guardrail, and it straightened up, and she hit the guardrail, and she said that she jumped off the back of it, and she was just road rash head to toe.
But lived, right? Because she said something to you.
She was fine. Like, she was literally fine, except for... All right. This is the graphic part.
Okay.
She, A, was wearing Chuck Taylors, short shorts, and a tank top with no helmet.
Skin graft city, man.
And I had to cut, her clothes off so I could see exactly what was going on.
God.
When she got to the hospital, her underwear was interwoven with the meat of her ass skin.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, dude.
So like that's done. Like she doesn't even have anything to graft at that point because that's where they always take it from, your ass.
Well, I'm sure she is fine. I'm sure it's all okay. It wasn't that bad, but I'm just saying, like, they went to go pull, like, they cut the underwear off because I normally don't cut the underwear. I'll cut everything else off,
right?
Because I can see everything.
Yeah, you got what you mean.
They cut that off and they go to pull, and I'm like, oh god, that makes me hurt.
Staying.
Stop.
Jesus, man.
And
they were probably picking fucking chunks of fabric out of her for hours.
Yeah.
And not to mention gravel and God knows what else too.
They couldn't see it. It was camouflage color. Yeah.
Oh.
It's like green camouflage underwear. Yeah. Another
Poor
one of those
thing.
things. That's
Poor thing. That's in your brain now.
Stuck in my brain. Mm-hmm.
Forever.
Yeah. It's red and green.
Right? Red and green. It wasn't red when it started.
Let's see. What was
The
my
fact that you could identify the pattern at all was pretty impressive. Doesn't sound like it would have been too much to
Well, the
think
front
about.
was fine. The back was not.
So is that her whole... No, you... what was your first code? Do you have any... Ooh, that last part. Do you have any regrets going into EMS?
My mental health.
Does she mean like, do you regret going in at all?
No.
Or does
no.
she mean, do you have any regrets as caveats? Like, you don't regret going in,
I have
but
no
you do regret
regrets.
things. No regrets.
There's no regrets. No,
What about, like, do you ever think to yourself, like, man, I wish I wouldn't have gone in to this kind of, like, situation, and I wish I would have just gone in somewhere else, or something like that?
you know,
Like, you wish you'd played it differently
let's
sometimes?
address both of these, okay? Number one, yes, I wish I would have entered a situation in a different location than I had.
Right. But that's just, like, hindsight's 20/20 kind of stuff.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
um,
you wish you could go back and tell yourself, bro, you don't want to do this. You want to do this instead.
yeah, look, if you do this, somebody's going to be there with a gun, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Right.
But it's kind of one of those things where, you know, I made it out, so...
Yeah. And it probably, you know, had a positive effect on you. Do you think that it would be, like, good advice if anybody is thinking about becoming EMS to, like, just get a hold of somebody that's been doing it a long time and just ask them for advice?
That's kind of what Ride Time is supposed to be.
It's
you know?
like a mentorship kind of
Yeah.
sort of situation.
But, you know, us salty
or an
fuckers...
apprentice. Yeah.
Us salty fuckers,
Yeah.
we're just like, look, motherfucker.
Well, you're probably going to get a lot better info out of them if you just take them out for a beer / you know, meet them somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Get them off the clock and talk to them. Like, because, you know, you may not always have the time to give them the speech you'd like to give these new people, you know?
Right, exactly. But the other thing, too, is do I regret going into EMS? No, I don't.
In a general sense?
But, yeah, exactly. But here's the thing is, if you don't have that personality type, and I didn't realize I had that personality type until way after.
How do you find out early, you know? Like, how do you save yourself all that lost time?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Right.
Try to eat, like, Sunday dinner while watching, like, horrible YouTube videos, maybe? See if that bothers you.
Live leak.
Yeah, there
Watch
you go.
Live Leak and eat dinner and see what happens.
Oh, yeah, I ruined that for you the other day. That's right.
No, but that's the thing is, you know, you don't know what you can handle until you're in
To
it.
be fair, seeing it in person is probably a world of difference.
Well, and that's
too.
the thing is, you know,
Smelling it,
I have
tasting it.
I have seen many people who are book smart and can do it in their head, but getting it from their head to their
and
hands.
in theory, they're like, this will be fine. They thought of it doesn't bother me, so why would it bother me? And they see it and they're like, oh, this bothers me.
Well,
You
no,
know?
even not that, like skills. Like, I mean, okay,
I see what you mean, yeah.
let me be I'll be this black
Devil's
cloud
advocate.
of black cloud of don't do this, but whatever.
Gotcha.
You know, the first time you see somebody who is less than 2 years old and you're trying to put a tube in their throat, do you think you can do that? Like, do you think
Or are
you
you
can do
gonna
it?
shut down?
Or can you actually do it?
Yeah.
You know, you can think you can do it, but can your hands work the way that they should?
Yeah.
You know, that's the shitty part.
You know, that's good advice for anybody, though. Like, I think everybody, you hit a certain age, and you're 20, 22, 23, whatever you are, that's a thing that everybody should be doing. Like, you
Right.
should be learning, like, the real, like, limits of what you can do.
Yeah.
That will help you so much, because, like, for me, man, like, I didn't really get a solid idea of who I was until I was, like, 30, you know, like 2 years ago, you know, and I was just like a late bloomer in that way, I guess. Like, I never really knew, like, what are my limitations? What are my strengths? What am I good at? What am I not good at? Like, the earlier you can figure that out for yourself and realistically figure
Yeah.
it out, the better your life will be.
Right.
Like, the happier you'll be as an adult if you can just figure out what you can do, what you can't do, and just fucking be fine with that. Like, if
Right.
you really want to do something, but you just can't, that sucks, but whatever.
Well, and see, that's the horrible thing is, you if you're in EMS long enough and you can handle it, you still get that strain on your brain, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, certain things hit you that
That's
didn't
what I
hit you
feel like.
before.
I feel like maybe I would think I would be okay with it, but then it would creep up on me. Like I'd be that guy that like, oh yeah, I'm doing fine, and then one day I just crack. You know.
Well, and that's the thing is,
it'd have a cumulative effect.
You've got to find that point where you're like, yes, I'm okay with it, and there's a lot of things that affect me, but I'm too much of an asshole to let those affect me. You know what I mean?
For sure. And well, like, and there's those doctors, man. Like, there's doctors out there that literally specialize in like chronic patient children, like, and they've been doing it for 50 years,
right?
You know, and like, so that is a very specific, special kind of person that can do that and still show up every day with a big smile and make those kids happy. Like, holy shit, how do you even do that?
Well,
you know, like, how does that not ruin your life?
Here's the crappy part is one of the applications I put in was actually for a technically a community paramedic.
What is that?
You don't ride on an ambulance. You're available from 8 to 5 p.m. and
Really?
You go to people's houses, and then you do you assess them, you know, take all their vital signs, all that. And
but you're not doing emergencies per se?
No, you're not at all.
You're just basically like low-income checkups, more or less?
You work with one of the ER. You have your own medical control.
I've never even heard of this. This is cool.
So basically what you do is, you know, the elderly or the very sick, you go to those houses, you do their vital signs, they tell you what's wrong with them or what they think is wrong with them, and then you
And these aren't people that think they're having heart attacks. These are
Right.
people that think
it's chronic problems, and you assess them, and then you call the medical control and be like, hey, this is what's going on. This will probably help them.
God, that probably saves a lot of like headache from those like ambulance chaser type people.
Yeah, and the doctor will go, okay, you write the prescription, because they give you your own prescription pad.
Wow.
Write the prescription for like.
Are you limited? But it's like
very, very limited.
I'm sure.
I mean, you can do some pain meds. You can do some
minor. No narcotics,
antibiotics.
Obviously, probably.
Well, you can do some narcotics, but you do some like.
You can do some narcotics.
Well, you can prescribe. Some
you can
narcotics.
give. Just to take the edge off.
Right. You can do some like antibiotics. You can do, you know, some just like generalized.
You're stopping the gaps, but you're not necessarily.
So
fixing
they don't
the
call an
problems.
ambulance to go to the hospital for something
that's
they
like,
don't need to go to.
That's like a hero to the EMTs, I bet.
Right? Yeah.
Like I bet they love that guy.
But the thing is
this local? Like, do we have one of these around here?
No, we don't.
I didn't think so.
And actually, I would have to go to like 30 minutes away just to do it. But
well, you've done worse.
Right. But the thing is I put my application in, and they sent me an email today right before you got here that goes, well, you have plenty of experience, but we're looking for people with more education in this area. I'm like, dude, I've been doing this long enough. Come on. What do you want? So, yeah. I
could see if they were like, we want somebody that's from this community or something like that.
Right.
Like, oh, okay. I could see that, but that's not what they said.
Let's hit one more before we close this bitch out.
All right.
What was your first code? I can remember this one too. It was.
I bet you can, because code means like they
full
died.
arrest. Yeah, full arrest.
Well, does the code necessarily mean they died, or does it mean they died for a minute?
Code means they have no heart rate while you're there.
But if you bring them back, it's still
a code. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a 76-year-old grandmother on 4th of July, 8 years ago? Yeah, 8 years ago. And she went out in a pool.
In a pool?
In a pool. Like a swimming pool.
On purpose?
No, she just like...
fell in?
She had a heart attack while she was in the pool.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so...
like in her home pool.
Yeah.
I was thinking like public pool or something.
Drug her out of out of the water, did CPR, all that stuff, just like...
So did somebody like at home call...
Yeah,
she's in the pool.
Her son found her, and he was freaking the F out.
Of course.
I mean, it was just nuts.
Oh man.
So it was one of those things where, you know, you're working all the way to the hospital, and you know, she died in a pool. What are you gonna do? She's got water in her lungs.
You were like too late to do anything.
Well, I mean, in that case, what are you gonna do?
She'd been in there a bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's not like he saw her thrashing around in the pool called you guys as he pulled her out. It's like he found her floating in there.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, that sucks.
So
I
it's
would
one of
hate
those-
to find like a parent or a family member like that.
Yeah.
God, that'd be brutal.
And that's one of my worst fears is like my own family.
Oh God.
Or my friends.
Oh man, like, well, I'm sure like any time, even if you don't know him that well, like, have you ever went on a call and been like, oh shit, it's that guy from the gas station?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever like recognized someone, but not like a friend, but like, I know this guy. He's the guy that gave me my burger the other day, or
well,
something.
and I've seen some of these people, and honestly, like normally it works out better just on a general call like that,
Right.
because you're like, dude, you know me, I know you, like,
Yeah.
chill.
Yeah. It probably helps with your whole rapport thing.
Right.
You're like, hey, you're the guy from Kreckles or whatever,
Yeah,
you know? Like,
And I've picked people up from places that I go to all the time,
well, sure.
but it's not family, it's not like friend.
That's harder, I'm sure. God, I was just like imagining like your dad or somebody like that. Like,
Right.
fuck.
That's my worst fear, man. That's my worst fear.
Well,
Actually,
I think it's like you said that happened, right? Like, kind of. Like he was like, no, you can't do that. Like they'll tell you like, no, dude.
well, and yeah, there's
They're like, you're too close to this.
There's only been one person that I was literally like fighting to go like
because
to
you weren't
handle the situation.
You weren't doing this job when your dad had his heart scare, right?
No. Well,
It's
no,
probably a good thing because you
I
probably would have
was.
went.
I was, but I wasn't on the job. Like I was off.
Were you there?
I went afterwards. Yeah.
So you didn't know about it when it was happening.
No, he won't tell me anymore. No.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So like you have to like ask your mom for details. Like,
No,
what's
she'll tell
going
me
on?
after he's already there and stuff, or if he goes.
because he knows exactly what you do.
Uh-huh.
Is you like drop everything, leave your stove on, and come running.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing is.
I mean, he's a pretty healthy guy now, though, right? Like he's kind of got a handle on it.
As far as I know, he won't tell me anything anymore.
Of course. Well, you know, I feel like you'd have found out by now if it was serious.
Right. Yeah. And that's the time when I had a little heart to heart with a nurse, and that was when I was a basic. So that was over 6 years ago now.
Right.
So,
like
I
I know you're
mean-
not technically supposed to tell me, but this is my dad.
Right.
Like,
No. Like they gave him nitro when his blood pressure was 90/60, and they didn't take his blood pressure, so it tanked him.
oh.
And he coded, so they worked him, and then I didn't find out about it until like 4 hours later.
Wow.
And I went up there. I saw my dad for a couple of minutes, made sure he was okay. I found the nurse. I was like, "Was that you?"
Oh, but they
And-
were like,
She goes,
was it?
"No, that was last shift." I was like, "All right, well, if this happens again, I don't care who it is. I'm beating
I'm
your
killing the
fucking
first
ass."
person I see. For real, man.
Yeah,
Well, your
dude.
dad's like my dad. If he takes care of himself and he just like behaves medically speaking,
That's not gonna happen, man.
if he just like takes care of his stuff and
You
goes to the
goddamn
doctor,
right.
like he'll live forever. Like my grandpa, he had a stroke when he was 80 some years old. And then when he actually finally did pass away, like, cause he had a stroke, his whole left half was basically done for.
Right.
Like his hand was useless, his leg was fairly useless. He walked with the brace okay. Old man still drove his car because it was his left side, not his driving side. He still mowed his own lawn.
You goddamn right.
Yeah. Like, dude didn't slow down at all. Eventually, once he did his therapy and stuff. If it hadn't been for that stroke, he probably would have been healthy enough to survive another so many years with his... Because he finally, I think he got bladder cancer. And that actually finally did take him out. But he was like
You can't survive
pushing
without a bladder,
90, man. He was pushing 90. And like, and if it hadn't been for that cancer, he probably would have been perfectly healthy up until like the day he finally passed away. Like, there's just those old guys are like that. They're tough, man.
Yeah,
they just
dude.
their bodies are too stubborn to die.
Kids these days are not gonna make it that long.
No, we're not even gonna make it that long because like we don't live the way they did. You know,
I don't know, man. I think we're big enough assholes. We're gonna make it that long because
just on pure stubbornness. Perhaps
God's gonna be like,
I
no,
don't want that.
just wait.
I don't want that.
We can wait a little bit longer, man. We can wait just a tad longer.
Just a tad. Just a tad.
Well, this has been the 18th episode.
Man.
The Posode.
Are we gonna do something special for 20?
Maybe that's going to be when the people are wild.
I feel like that's a milestone of sorts.
Yeah.
I mean, 100's the big one, but that's a while off. That's a little while off.
So yeah, maybe we're gonna have the People Are Wild podcast.
That'd be good
on
if
here.
we could make that work. Like, make it actually be the 20th episode. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That gives us a
cool
little
with that.
time too.
We're gonna answer Jess. We're gonna answer your other questions next time. We kind of planned to do it this time, but we had some other stuff too. So yeah.
Well, plus, honestly, that first question is a doozy, and there's a lot of conversation that can go into that because it's like multi-tiered.
Oh yeah,
Like-
yeah. So we thank you for listening. Again, please check us out on Facebook and Twitter. 107 Off Duty.
Oh, another thing about questions. If you guys want us to say your name, or if you're fine with us saying your name, don't say anything. And if you don't want us to say your name, just say so.
Right. Yeah.
Or if you want us to say like from Randall H or whatever, just let us know, because we don't want to say your name on, a podcast that people hear unless you want it.
Right.
So we're kind of weird about saying your name otherwise.
PT Dubs, Jess. I don't know if that picture on your Twitter is like recent or not, but you look like a total scene kid.
Yeah.
Just saying, like.
Yeah. She looks
So,
like she
yeah.
probably would go to the same shows we went to.
Yeah. If you want more exclusives or more podcast extras or whatever,
More
go to
stupidity.
patreon.com/offduty. Also follow us on our Podbean app, offduty.podbean.com.
Yo.
If you want to send some questions and know that I or John are going to get them right away, look at 107offduty@gmail.com.
Also Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
Because we both get those notifications. So
Well,
one of us will answer you.
Man, I kind of miss the Facebook ones.
Oh, I usually get them.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So yeah.
All right.
If worst case, I'll bring it up with you. Best case, I'll just give him a dumb answer.
All right. Also, please, for the love of God, go on our Stitcher, iTunes, whatever, and
I
rate.
haven't actually ever gone on our Stitcher. I have no idea what it looks like.
Same thing as the Podbean, but you can
Gotcha.
actually comment and whatnot.
And it's not broken right now. Actually, I think they got Podbean fixed finally.
It's fixed. It
yeah,
works.
because people were complaining a lot. I'm sure they were like feeling the pressure.
It looked like we dropped like 400 people a day.
I was freaking out. Like,
I'm like,
man, what do we do?
Holy shit. Yeah. So
what have we done that we didn't do lots before? That's the only positive thing to being like as ridiculous as we are is that really there's nowhere to go but up.
right? Yeah. Uh-huh.
We're not going to offend people this time. Like, if we haven't offended you yet, you're probably not going to get offended.
Yeah. So please, if you follow us on Stitcher or iTunes, rate and comment. Like, let us know you like.
Do the waffle stomp.
BT Dubs. BT Dubs. If you check out 10-7 Off Duty on YouTube, our Hot Ramen Challenge is up.
Oh,
And-
is it?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go watch that because I haven't actually seen it. I just
Really?
did it. I was the part of it. I haven't actually seen how dumb we look.
It's also going to be on Patreon too. I
That's
think
good.
it's on Patreon right now, actually.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
unlocked it.
Yes. So
The keys to the kingdom are yours.
we also have another video that whenever I get it done, it's gonna be up there. Sorry, I'm trying so hard, guys.
Videos are harder, man. It's all the fun of audio mixing plus video. You know?
plus Satan's asshole and everything else.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, there's these like I saw these things online the other day.
Can
There's
we do the
these
hot nut
suckers
challenge?
called Satan's toe.
Can we do the hot nut challenge?
What is that?
It's the death nut challenge. Look
Oh,
at
I
it.
thought it was gonna like make us burn our nuts. I was
No,
like,
it's-
man, I don't know.
It's literally
I like my nuts.
it's peanuts.
You're gonna
with-
like my nuts.
lick my nut. No, it's literally peanuts covered in incremental hot dust.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So like it gets hotter.
Yeah. So you try the first one, you're like, oh, that's not bad. Try the second one, you're like, Like the sixth one, they fire out your butthole without it swallowing.
Right.
Yeah.
Just funk, like a mortar.
Slap shot. Now look,
Here's my nuts. One slap, you're gonna love my nuts. Two slaps, you're gonna love my nuts. Look at this. Would you add a mushroom? Slap my nuts. What do you do? Why never get you to switch any blades?
Bye, kids.
You hate it. You know you hate
This is Kim, your friendly neighborhood ER nurse. I'm the host of People Are Wild, the only podcast that claims to bring medical entertainment, medutainment, on a weekly basis. I can be found on your favorite podcast listening app, iTunes and Google Play, and you could talk to me on Twitter at People Are Wild.